What is up, everybody? It's 3WK. We're going to go on a little adventure today. It is a beautiful end of summer day here in Georgia. So I took the Spyder out for the first time in a while, and I wanted to get you guys up to speed as if I'm James Pumphrey on what exactly has been going on, why haven't I been riding, and give you a little bit of kind of maybe direction for the channel in the future, and just what you guys can expect, but also just talk, it's kind of what this whole channel was always built on, was my passion for talking and for riding motorcycles, and my passions have expanded over the years, and so that channel, or this channel rather, reflects that. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me for the last few, and hopefully you guys will continue to do so. So as I alluded to, I've had a lot of changes over the most recent months and years. As you know, I moved to Georgia, but shortly after that, one of the main reasons me and my wife moved to Georgia was we wanted to start a family, and I am blessed and thankful that me and my wife recently had our first child, and that has been, a journey, and it's been beautiful and tiring, and, just priorities shift. Riding motorcycles in Florida was something that I would do to kind of de-stress after a long day of work or get out on the weekend. And these days, a lot of that time is spent with my family, and it's a beautiful thing. And now I am definitely finding different ways to kind of get in touch with this part of myself, which is one of my favorite parts: riding motorcycles, getting off-road. They're all things that I try to fit in my life when I can, but I don't always have 100% of the time that I would want to. And even more recently, just as summer's coming around, all of us, I'm sure, if you own a home, or if you kind of like have family that you help work on their home or property or whatever, like, okay, springtime, summertime's coming, you might do some work around the house. Well, I was unfortunate enough that I was doing some work around the house recently, and I injured my hand. I broke my middle finger on my left hand, had some severe laceration on the kind of across the hand, but mostly on that middle finger, and that took me out of commission. Like peak riding season, I was kind of getting ready to gear up, start doing some stuff, and just out of nowhere, I had kind of a big setback, and it was shocking, to be honest. It wasn't something I expected at all. I'll say, as an adult, breaking a bone is a very humbling experience. I feel like, when you're young, like, your friends break bones all the time, it's no big deal. But man, as an adult, breaking a bone, being out of commission, not being able to do all the things that you normally do, being somewhat of a burden, or feeling like somewhat of a burden, it's definitely a humbling experience to realize that, man, you got to take care of your body, and obviously doing something like riding motorcycles is inherently dangerous, and so you definitely think about all the things that you do and how they impact you, but you still have to go on. Even when I broke that finger, I was using heavy machinery to grind a stump in my backyard, or grind many stumps in my backyard. And after I returned from the hospital, I finished the job the next day. One, because I had already paid for the equipment and I wasn't going to pay for it twice. And two, because that's life, man. I really do believe that you kind of have to follow through on things that you do, and you try to be intentional about things when you do them. And when I rented that machinery, I believed wholeheartedly that I could fulfill that job, and I still believe that even after I made a mistake and suffered an injury from it. So all that to say that my year has kind of gone a little bit different than I expected it, and there's great parts of that and there's bad parts of that, but all of it leads me to this point that I am at now, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy to be riding a Spyder again. I'm happy to be planning camping trips again. I'm thankful that my injury was not, a debilitating injury. I'm very thankful. So for the first time, I think maybe about 3 weeks ago, I rode my Spyder after the injury, And it really, again, made me consider like how different things could have been. At that time, I had just kind of started physical therapy, and I couldn't really close my hand fully with my middle finger. And so just thinking in my head, like, oh, wow, like if I was on, one of my traditional motorcycles that I've had in the past, I wouldn't have been able to pull in the clutch effectively. So it just wouldn't have been an option for me at that time to ride. And if that injury was worse to my left hand, then it really might not have been an option to ride much at all. Whereas I kind of see some more of the genius of the Can-Am Spyder and Riker, because it does open up those doors for people who possibly have disabilities or possibly have injuries that have kept them from riding, doing something that they love and are passionate about. They still have that window to do that if they want to with some of the Can-Am products. For me, my Spyder is the semi-automatic, so I just have to use, my index and thumb to shift up and down. But if you're on a Riker, all you need is your right hand to control your throttle, and your left you can, just really is more for stabilization and turning and being able to control the handlebars. But there are ways around a lot of those things that make it a lot easier. Like, I know that folks with disabilities in their legs are able to, fit hand brakes to the Riker and Spyder respectively. So it's just incredible when you really think about it, and it has been eye-opening to realize that sometimes while we think, the things that we do are just kind of random chance, or the things that we do we're always in control. It's like you can have either mindset, but it all kind of comes together in the end that we don't have control over everything, but the things that you do have control over, do them well, enjoy them, love the life you're living, because even if you're living kind of like a path that you feel like is the safest possible path, something can happen. So my dad always used to say that like life is about like minimizing risk, and I agree in a lot of ways. And it's like, yeah, you can take risks, but you take smart risks, take calculated risks. Riding a motorcycle is a risk, but ride in a safe way, wear your gear, ride at times that are maybe a little less busy so that you can really enjoy it. Ride on roads that you enjoy riding and, that you feel are safe to you. It's like, yes, something can happen, but at the same time, something can happen in your house. I've seen reels and TikToks of like cars flying through people's backyards. Like, you just don't know. So, that crazy speech I'm giving right now is really just to say that riding the Spyder really reminded me of when I first started, because it was a little different. I hadn't done it in a while. I was coming off of an injury. I was kind of realizing, a little bit of where my pain still was in my hand, and it just made me appreciate, the ability that I still have life, that I still have the ability to do these things, and I was really happy to ride it. I saw recently Can-Am just announced their new lineup for 2025 with the Can-Am Canyon and some new updates to like the Spyder line. It's got like a backup camera and stuff like that, which is all super cool. But it's funny, I was so hyped about the Canyon, and I still am. I think it's a really amazing motorcycle, but at the same time, I got out on the Spyder and I was like, dude, this is why I bought it. This thing ripped all the way on this trip. So what I did was I took this trip from near my home all the way up to an area called Gainesville, Georgia, where they had this restaurant called Hello Hilo. And it was like a Hawaiian, kind of looked like, just like fast casual. But I just wanted to explore. Something I did in Florida all the time was just get up early in the morning, get on the Riker, and say, okay, like, where can I go? And I would just put in like a coffee shop in like Vero Beach from West Palm, where I was, and I would just travel. I would just take a trip up and see where I ended up. And that's exactly what I did. is find some place to go, and almost an excuse to go, because I think as we get older and as we have more responsibilities, we start to look maybe at life as like, okay, I got to do these things, and there almost always needs to be a purpose to the thing, like what you're doing. Whereas I was able to just create purpose and decide, hey, my purpose is to enjoy my morning and to explore and go somewhere that, I live so close to but have never really explored and been to. And I think that's always been one of the strengths of motorcycle riding, is that you could drive somewhere in your car, I promise you, 20 times. I don't think you will be as present in that space as you are on a motorcycle. It just is a different appreciation for kind of like the world around you when you're riding, and that makes it so much more engaging to me and so much more special. So I definitely wanted to share this moment with you guys. The restaurant ended up being super cool. It was a really nice meal. I brought some back for my wife so that she could enjoy it, and it just reminded me to kind of take a moment, enjoy what we have, the opportunities that we have in front of us. If you're riding, keep riding, do it while you can and can enjoy it. Be safe out there. And, to all the folks who are riding Can-Ams because it is your way of kind of connecting with this passion that we all share, like, don't let anybody tell you that this isn't the ultimate experience, because it is definitely that. Motorcycle, 2 wheels, 3 wheels, it's connecting in a different way than as some folks like to call it, being in the glass box or the cage or whatever. It's like, it is a unique experience, and you just have to appreciate that. Anyway, you guys know I've been 3WK. I'm planning to put out a lot more content this year. I'm hoping to ride a little bit more into fall, do maybe a camping trip. Would be cool to do a 3-wheel camping trip, but I'll also be doing off-roading content and just things I love doing. So hopefully you guys stick around for all the stuff that I produce. It's more than just motorcycles, it's passion, it's just me distilled into something I can put into a video. So appreciate you guys always sticking with me. Peace.